The New England Patriots just got great news about a rookie. Let's talk about it. My name is Aaron on the Daily Patriots content. Don't miss out. All you got to do, subscribe button, notification bell, and tap the like button. Guys, what's there not to like? The sun is out, the birds are chirping, and Patriots football is around the corner. So don't miss out. Today, what we're going to talk about, in my opinion, it is something that really has been on the hush, that has not been talked about a lot, and that specifically is the tight end position. Now we jump into it, and in my opinion, I've told you, you could go back. If this was in a court of law, I'm sure someone could say, Aaron, you said CJ Dupree from Alabama was a lock as that third string tight end. I very well may have said that. And if I did, you know what? Sue me. But what's interesting, the more and more you are starting to see 53-man roster projections, you see my guy G. Scott Jr., which is very interesting. I'm going to be honest. Scout's honor. Wasn't a scout, but sure, Scout's honor. I wrote him off. Did not see him in this Josh McDaniels offense, and would have, and I was like, I'll be surprised if he comes even close. He's a practice squad guy. That's my thought. And it's very possible he is still a practice squad guy. I'm not saying he's not. But what's interesting is he has been looking really good. In the spring, he was looking great. And even now, he is looking great. And a lot of people would say and have said he's looking better than CJ Dupree, Jaheim Bell, Jack Westover, which we will talk about Jack Westover in just a second because that's more of an interesting conversation. But what's interesting about G. Scott Jr. is the fact that he is more of that new NFL tight end, that hybrid between a tight end and a wide receiver, crazy athletic, has great explosiveness. There we go, Aaron. Off the line, vertical threat, great with his routes, the size of a tight end, but the ability of a wide receiver. But the caveat with it, what comes with it is what typically? They're not great blockers in the trenches. So, and again, G came from Ohio State, very much overshadowed by all the big time wide receivers that come out of Ohio State. And there's been a lot. Listen, I'm not crazy about Ohio State. Never have been. I do have a former student who plays there, so I was cheering for him last year, though I'm a Michigan State fan. But it's tough to get some receptions and targets when you have big name receivers there, especially when you have a guy who was a freshman last year, Jeremiah Smith, who is an absolute beast for the Buckeyes and will for sure be a top 3 pick when he goes out after his junior year, which is still 2 years away. Crazy. But that's beside the point. We look at this type of wide receiver, and I assumed at the beginning of the draft and then when undrafted free agents were picked up that CJ Dupree was that tried and true, great in the trenches, needed to work on the hands, but a solid fit for the Josh McDaniels offense. Now it's starting to seem it's the opposite, where someone like a G. Scott has that potential to make the 53-man roster, has been impressive, and is a mismatch nightmare, again, because of his size and his athletic ability as a wide receiver. He runs a 4.6 40 as a tight end for his size, again, solid. It's a crazy transition. So, sorry, I got to talk about this because I love talking about this because I enjoy college football. But a lot of times what you see in college football is a tight end who maybe can't cut it in the NFL transitions to a tackle. So you have a very athletic offensive tackle that was once a tight end. And that's a great move. This transition from wide receiver, tight end, same kind of concept where, again, his whole life he's been a wide receiver and he has those abilities, but then he bulks up and then he starts running those shorter intermediate routes, much like a tight end, but obviously still needs to learn how to be better in the trenches. So again, we say all this and the question becomes, hey, what is that answer for the third string tight end? And that's where I bring back Jack Westover. Again, he's been playing fullback. They had it in that I formation, that beautiful toss that Terrell Jennings scored on, and then was the first run, I believe the only run for Travion Henderson in that game the other day against Washington. And so when they look at it, this organization, Josh McDaniels, Mike Vrabel, what do they value as that third tight end spot? That is my question for you. What do they value? Do they value someone who can potentially be that tried and true traditional tight end that's a blocker like a CJ Dupree or a Jack Westover, or who is versatile, can play both the Y, can play the H back, can play the fullback, or someone who is more, hey, that vertical threat where, hey, the obviously the NFL, the tight end position has been changing over time to this more edgy wide receiver type tight end like a G Scott Jr. So that is my question for you. That third spot for the Patriots and the tight end position, who is going to fill it and why, in your opinion? So comment below. Again, I want to talk about G Scott just because he's been turning heads at camp. He did so in the spring as well, but just not talked about a ton. But now popping up on 53 man roster projections all over the internet that he has the potential to make this team. So, what are your thoughts? Again, that third spot in the tight end position, who's it going to go to and why? Comment below. Would love to hear from you. Again, it's cool too. Teammates with Travion Henderson, quality guys, cool to see. And then as well, stats at the bottom. Sorry, my mug was covering that up for a minute, but we all survived. So next up, Kyle Peko just signed by the Patriots. I want to tell you, this is the craziest news. Kind of cool picture right here with him and Hutch. But they dropped Bryce Gannis, the Wake Forest undrafted free agent. They released him. Peko is a 9-year vet. He has played under Vrabel for the Titans as well as Terrell Williams last year with the Lions. Played in 5 games. If you remember anything about the Lions, they were injury-ridden on defense. It was bad. It was hard to watch. They literally were doing what the Patriots were doing, but when the Patriots were finding people off the practice squads of other teams and starting them on the offensive line, that was the Lions, but on defense in a bunch of different areas. Anyways, he ended up tearing his pectoral muscle, ended up having season-ending surgery. And so, free agent, picked up. Positives, good experience. A vet would be a depth piece. But the question becomes, Farmer, and Tonga, what would happen to them? It's a 90-man roster. You get eyes on multiple people. He has experience with both Vrabel and Williams. His brother or his cousin, older cousin, fun fact, Damata Peko, played for Michigan State, had a sweet fumble recovery against Michigan. My boy Ray might remember that, but Michigan State ended up losing. It was a rough game. Don't want to talk about it, but crazy fumble recovery. But interesting pickup. Do I see him making the team? No, not necessarily. What says you, though? Comment below. Would love to hear it. And last but not least, those who have watched this channel for a while know that I like bringing up odds. I think it's always interesting. So moving in a different direction when it comes to games Patriots are favored in. We know last year there was not a single game they were favored in. It was not great for them. The year before, 3. This year, as of right now, we know it is a much easier schedule. Should be a much easier schedule, and that they are favored in right now, so almost mid-August, 11 games, which is wild. And then we jump over to the other side. What is the over/under for 8.5, 9.5? And so Vegas high on the Patriots. Don't sleep on them. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Very interesting. So comment below. Tell me first and foremost, tight end, third string tight end, who's going to fill it and why. And then Peko, whatever. Comment whatever you want. I don't care. Good talking to you guys. We'll talk later. Peace.